George Jr. Ellis is recognized as the man most responsible for keeping senior baseball alive in Peterborough from 1975 to 2000. George entered his 25th campaign as manager of the Peterborough Tigers in 2000 and has been connected with local baseball for more than 40 years. For 12 years, he coordinated the successful Tigers baseball camp for youngsters. His contribution in providing local baseball players with the opportunity to play at a highly competitive level with the Peterborough team was recognized in 1982 when he was named Sportsman of the Year by the city. A fixture on many local sporting scenes, George has a long-time career as an official, refereeing high school football for more than 35 years. He has coached minor hockey teams in the Peterborough Minor Hockey Association and Peterborough Community Church League and managed a local midget all-star hockey team. He was a member of the executive of the Peterborough Junior B Lions hockey team in the 1970s. George's keen interest in hockey was evident by his playing old-timers hockey with the Peterborough Relics for 21 consecutive years. Born in Peterborough in 1937, George has made a lasting contribution as a builder to the sports heritage of his community and certainly a sports legend in Peterborough and District. George, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to ask everybody this off the top, but when was the last time you heard your Hall of Fame bio, and how does it make you feel?
Well, it's makes me feel one of the select group. When you get involved with sports, you don't expect anything like to be nominated to the Hall of Fame, and I was really surprised when I got nominated for the Hall of Fame.
And all the work that you do, well, you wouldn't even call it work, I'd say, but all the time you spent, did you envision that it was building towards something, or was it just something you did?
I come from a large family, and I'm the only one that's involved with sports, and I wasn't looking for anything at the end of the rainbow. I just met a lot of great friends that are still my friends to this day.
Mm-hmm. And coming through, being the only person in your family who got involved in sports, what led you in that direction?
Well, when I was young, lived on what they call the Point in East City. I went to King George School, and we used to take our lunch. And we would take our hockey sticks and our skates, and we'd go down to the canal, and underneath the pontoons, it was just like glass down there. And we would play shinny down there for half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, and I enjoyed that, and I met a lot of nice friends. And when I lived on the Point, we used to have a rink, and the rink was right close to Dick Clapper's house, and we would shovel it off, and I played hockey with Dick's son Don, and of course Dick's daughter Marilyn, who I knew really quite well. That we went to King George School. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed the friendship of Don, and God bless him, he's passed away, but they were the good days. And when I was in there, I had a paper route over uptown in Peterborough, and Dick Clapper had a sporting goods store, and eventually I ended up with a job on King Street, and Red Sullivan and Dick Clapper and Don worked at the Clapper's sporting goods store.
And in East City, there's the
in East City, yes.
the billboard or the information board right in front of the East City Bowl with Red Sullivan,
with
right?
Red Sullivan's name on it, yeah.
And the walk from the Point to King George isn't short. It's a couple of kilometers at minimum, and then to get to the water. So how much time was lunch?
Well, I can't remember that. It goes back quite a ways, but. Nowadays, like the kids, a bit of snow, and they get a snow day. Like when I was going to school, we had to walk through whatever was out there, rain, snow, mm-hmm. or you name it. We got there the best way we knew how.
Mm-hmm. And the Baseball Canada hat you're wearing right now.
The Baseball Canada hat that I'm wearing right now is a great friend of mine, a fellow by the name of Huey Hamilton. I was a good friend of his father's who has passed away, and Huey worked at the Bell, and then we became good friends. And the young lad, he's got Team Canada, and I met him several times. And he said to me, "Next time you come to Florida, you're going to be on the field with me." Yeah.
With Team Canada.
But Team Canada, yeah. He thought quite a bit of me. You know, Greg Hamilton.
How much did that faith in you mean?
Well, his father and I were great friends, and we used to go to the ballpark, and his father became manager of our relic hockey team on top of that. So we had a good relationship, and Greg was just a super kid growing up. And he got a scholarship in the States, and he went from there, he climbed the ladder.
And going back to being on the field with Team Canada, take me through that. That's a unique experience, obviously. But take me through that. Some of the names that you remember, some of the interactions you remember.
Well, I don't remember many guys on the team. The only one is Greg and Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt was his right-hand man, and Greg was smart. He got a scholarship in the States, and right from day one, I knew that he was going to go someplace because he enjoyed the baseball, and he played a bit of hockey too. He played for the junior Bs here.
Is baseball the sport that meant the most to you coming up?
Probably baseball meant the most to me, but I enjoyed the football as well. I have a lot of stories about football. I refereed high school football, the Ottawa Rough Riders camp at Trent University, the Peterborough Panthers when they had a junior team. I enjoyed the football. The Ottawa camp was probably, I got to know George Brancato quite well. He was the coach, and some of the players on that team were Canadians. Ron Stewart, Whit Tucker, Margie Atkins was an import. But I think they were here for 2 years at Trent University, and we would go down and have lunch with them at the end of the game, and they used us just top notch. And
so you're born in 1937.
I was born in 1937.
So then you're playing high school sports, or I'd assume in the mid to late 50s. What was the Peterborough sports scene like for you in the mid to late 50s? I see some of the pictures in the Hall of Fame, and there seems to have been fields strewn about the city in places that you wouldn't expect it at this point in time. But what was it like?
The fields were not the greatest fields, and but we knew that, and we made it work. Whatever we had to do, we made it work. I'm over there, raking the infield and doing this and doing that, and whatever, and the hockey too. On top of that, the hockey. Like when I was playing hockey, we didn't have inside. We played outside free rinks, and there was a gentleman from East City, the late Rube Brady. Like if you didn't play for Rube, you didn't play for anybody. And we would go to Apsley. We'd be in cars and trucks, and we'd freeze to death. And one night we went to Apsley, and Rube says, "We're going to have hot chocolate and hot dogs at the end of the game." I said, "No, Rube." I said, "We're going to have it now because I'm almost froze." But those were the good days. When I lived on the Point, we would walk up to Free Rink at where East City Bowl is, Riverside, and we would stay there till midnight playing hockey, just shinny, and we had a great time.
What was unique about East City? You hear about the baseball culture in East City, which it's obvious. They have the two beautiful baseball diamonds. What was unique about the sports there?
Well, it's funny the way it happens in Peterborough. Like Water Street, everything east of Water Street, the guys either played hockey or baseball. And on the other side, on the west end, they played lacrosse. So, like Bob Gainey, Red Sullivan, guys like that were from East City.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I lived in East City for a little bit when I first moved to Peterborough, and I actually would see Bob Gainey just watching baseball.
Yes.
And you don't think to see that, but you'd just be walking your dog through, and there's Bob Gainey just watching some youth baseball.
Yes.
The love of it, how deep-rooted is it?
Well, when I had the junior team, I had a lot of friends of Bob Gainey's. Freddie Garvey, Larry Oakley, Bob Davison. They were good friends of Bob Gainey's. And Bob would come over and he said to me, George, I'd love to play, but I can't. You know, Montreal would not let him play. So.
That can you imagine though? Even now, if you could think of a pro hockey player coming back to his hometown and playing like senior baseball in the summer.
I know.
So what?
It'd be good drawing crowd for the good crowd, eh?
Yes, it would be really exciting.
yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
and actually, it's funny that you talk about Riverside Park and all that right now, but there was a time, and this is in the city-issued calendar, where Riverside Park had multiple grandstands. Would you have ever have experienced that?
Yes. I'm going back quite a few years, and anybody that's elderly, like I am, they can remember that home plate used to be where home plate is now. Home plate used to be out right almost on the water, and we had two grandstands, one on the right side and one on the left side of the foul line. And I used to chase foul balls. They'd go in the water, and they'd give us, I don't know, 10 cents or whatever the case may be for foul balls.
That was a dead ball the rest of the game after
yes,
that, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, they were the good days that I had, and I enjoyed every day I had with them.
Is there something that sticks out for you more than anything if you look back on your entire time in the Peterborough sports community?
Yeah, there's the friendship I've had with these players when I had the junior team and even the senior baseball team. Some of the fellows didn't have much money, and we'd be out of town, and they'd always come to me, and I wasn't rich by a long shot, but they relied on me to give them, $1, whatever the case may be, and I enjoyed that. But even today, they never forget me. When I got sick, they were there for me. I got phone calls from Windsor, Pembroke, Ottawa, all over the place.
Would you say your greatest achievement in sports is the relationships you built?
The relationships that I've felt with these guys, yeah.
What do you think that does? What do you think that says about sports as a whole? When you can say that as a takeaway, if you're reflecting back on essentially your whole life, and you're saying that's the greatest takeaway, what do you think that says about sports?
Well, I think sports. When you get into sports, you're in there because you enjoy the game, whatever the case may be, and you go and you do what you can with what you have. And I know in the early days, we didn't have much, any money. I don't know to this day how we managed to pay the umpires, and we had to pay users' fees, and we had to pay for the lights. We had to pay, insurance, and when I had the team, it didn't cost the players. They played for nothing. They played for nothing. It didn't cost them a cent. And no, as I say to this day, all these guys are really good friends of mine.
Where do you think baseball in Peterborough, at the start or when you first started in it, how much do you think or do you believe it advanced in the more than 40 years that you were involved?
I think baseball today, at the minor level, I think we've got some excellent coaches, and if they want to stay with the kids, I think we will have some good players coming out of the Peterborough. But at the upper level, midget and junior and senior, we don't have the kids. Today, there's so many other things going on there that they get these iPads and all this stuff, and they won't come out of the house. But when I had the team, these guys came to play. You didn't have to phone them and say, "Are you going to be there?" They were there.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of the way it's changed, do you think that baseball, is there a way for baseball to come back to front of mind, or do you see a way that that'll happen?
I don't see it right at the present time with what's going on out there. I think if it does come back, it's going to be quite a while before it comes back.
Now, George Junior Ellis, we were talking a bit beforehand, and you don't know where the nickname Junior came from.
I don't know where the nickname Junior came from. The only when I went to King George School, I was the smallest guy. Like I don't even know how he tried it for this team, but I was the smallest guy, and they put me in goal. And we had the junior and senior teams at King George School at the time. I don't know where I got the junior from to this day. Yeah.
So you think it was size related?
It could have been size related.
I can relate to that. I can find a way to relate to that. Well, then, as you keep going, we're going to fast forward a bit here to the relics, old timers hockey.
Yeah.
How does that come to be? And obviously, it would have been fun, but to have that continuing on and to play hockey as you age, how much fun was that? What did that mean to that group?
I started playing old timers at 37, and I quit at 81. When we first started at 37, we had a group of they weren't only friends, they were good hockey players. And some of them passed away, like Larry Ferguson, Cy Coombs. They passed away, Bill Thompson, Alex McKean. But we had a bunch of no-names, and at the time we started the hockey team, I was the manager of the Bewdley Arena. So we had pretty good ice time, and we had an hour and a half. And we played different teams from Peterborough and Coburg, Port Hope, and whatever. But we had a bunch of guys that they didn't play professional like some of these other teams had, but we had a bunch of guys that could play the game. And we won a lot of tournaments, and we had a great time in playing.
How much, a lot of people, I guess, use it as an escape as they get older, just as you would when you're younger, maybe. But the chance to get together for more than 40 years with, I'm assuming, a pretty similar group of guys. How close did the bond get? Because you hear about a team going through a playoff round with a bunch of guys and they're bonded for life, but playing together for maybe 40 years.
Yeah, well, as I say, most of these fellows that I played with for 40 years have passed away. There was one incident that stands out, not when I was playing the manager of the midget team, that we had a fondue party at one of the fellows' houses, and I sat in the living room with the girls, and these two gentlemen, they said they'd get the fondue ready, so they were out in the kitchen, and they got it ready all right. The curtains caught on fire, and one of them worked at the Cooperator's Insurance, so he says, "I'll look after this." Yeah.
Won't reveal any names on that one. Yeah. No, for legal purposes, and that.
Can I? They both passed
Oh
away.
yes, I know. It's just joking for yes, because they're working at the insurance place. But again, looking at your impact and your long-term impact, what do you believe it'll be on the sports that you had your hands in Peterborough?
Well, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I done, and I know that the players appreciate what I done for them. They never forget you, and if I had my life to do over again, I wouldn't change a thing.
No piece of advice for actual junior George Ellis?
Well, no, I'm going to be 84, and a lot of people don't make it to that age. And I enjoy what I do, and I run in the ball camps and whatever the case may be, helping with the Atom tournament, and helping with the baseball camp, and I enjoyed that.
What does the sound of the crack of a bat mean if you're in East City and you hear, whether it be an aluminum bat or a wooden bat? I'm assuming that wooden bat would throw you back more, but when you hear it from a distance, what does that mean to you?
Well, when I was involved with the ball, as I say, we didn't have much money, and the balls were not cheap, and even though I was the manager of the team, I used to go and chase foul balls, and all the guys were saying, "You caught the foul ball before it even landed." So, as I say, we made out what we had to do, and the guys that I had on the junior team, and we won the All-Ontario in 1976, and they were born and bred in East City, majority of them, and that's why we had such a good team. And we've lost 3 players from that junior team, or the junior team and the senior team. There were 3 left-hand pitchers. They died at an early age.
Yeah. For the way that you guys would construct teams to your home ball diamond, was there a way that you would try and build? You mentioned 3 left-handed pitchers, but based on the dimensions of the field, is there something that you guys were looking towards when you were constructing teams?
No, there was nothing that we were looking for. In those days, you didn't have 20 players to choose from. We had a good, a fellow by the name of Barry Monroe came in here from Windsor, and he came to me and he says, "I'd like to play ball for you." I said, "Well, come out tomorrow night." So he come out, and he played 3 or 4 years for us, and he moved back to Windsor, and when I got sick, he was one of the first ones to phone me and want to know whether I need any financial assistance or what he could do for me. So I enjoyed that, and I appreciate the fellas.
Was there a good crowd? Oh, do you remember big crowds that you would have played in front of?
At one time, yes, we had a real good team, and we would charge $1 to get in, and we had we'd get maybe a couple hundred people there. One night, Roger Nielsen had a team in Keene, and we had a team in Peterborough, and we played at Riverside, and we had, I would think, about 3,000 people at that game. But Roger started out coaching us in 1976, and then he got too busy, and he had to quit. But Dick Todd played with us, and yeah.
How many well, you mentioned Red Sullivan, Bob Gainey, but like the cross-sport athletes, how many of them would people be surprised to know were spending a lot of time in East City playing baseball? Or can you think of any?
I can't think of anybody off the top, but
just the names mentioned already.
Yeah, the names I mentioned, and Freddie Garvey Jr., Larry Oakley.
Yeah,
you know.
And names like Roger Nielsen coaching baseball, that's something that people wouldn't be aware of. Well, some people in Peterborough would be, but outside of...
I think if you check the stats, that Roger enjoyed the baseball better than he did the hockey, because people won't believe this, but there's more finesse to baseball than there is in hockey, and Roger enjoyed that. You know, like he pulled the apple trick one time in Keene. The guy thought he had the ball and he didn't have the ball, and Roger was noted for that.
Go and talk to the pitcher on the mound and come back with the baseball.
Yeah.
Works once a season, that type of thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Well, if there's a kid, or let's say a 6-7-year-old team, and you want to to get to them the most important things, the fundamentals of baseball that you need to learn first.
Yep.
Based off of what you know, what do you want to impart to them? What do you think they need to know about the game?
Well, I think it's like every other sport. You can't come to the field with an open mind. And at one time, we didn't have very good coaching. But now, some of the fellows that played for me are back in the coaching ranks. And I've go over there on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and watch them. And if they listen to the coach instead of listening to the parents, I think they can absorb a lot and have a chance to move up and maybe not go pro, but maybe get a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And going back to that, you've seen Canadian baseball advance as well, but this is something that is maybe obscure, but say in Don Cherry's book, when I read Don Cherry's book, he talked about how he played semi-pro baseball.
Yeah.
And the stereotype about Canadian ball players was none of them had the arm. And
Yeah.
what was that about? How did that change as well?
Well, in Canada, like, we only have about 3 or 4 months that we can play ball.
Yeah.
And the winter is, that's why we produce more hockey players than we do baseball players, because our season is longer. And when you get playing ball, if you're good enough, then you get a scholarship, and then you don't know where it's going to end.
Yeah.
You know, you get your education paid for, and I know you have a slim chance of going to the majors, but if you work hard at it, there's always a chance for everybody.
Yeah. Well, guys like Larry Walker, Jeff Francis, they're from
Exactly.
Well, most of them are from out west. You talk about a longer playing season.
Playing time. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can you think of the most notable players that you've seen through your time?
Well, Larry Walker probably is the standout. As you know, he was a good all-around, heck of a hitter, and he was a gentleman.
And a Hall of Famer now.
And a Hall of Famer. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Is there anybody that you saw in Peterborough that you thought that guy has big league talent or big league ability?
We had one of the fellows that I had here went down to the Montreal camp, Montreal Expos. Mm-hmm. This guy could throw the ball. He went down there, and they brought him in with the bases loaded. He struck out the side. He come home, never heard from anybody anymore. That was it. So, I guess if you're in the right place at the right time, you get a shot. But if you're not, good luck.
He pitched in a major league game?
He pitched in, it was a tryout for the Montreal Expos.
Okay.
They had fellows from all over Canada there at the Montreal camp.
You would have seen the incarnation of the Toronto Blue Jays, the Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
How much did that mean when it all came through for baseball?
Well, I thought once the Blue Jays came to Toronto, I thought ball would, in all areas, I thought ball would take a stepping stone and jump to the front of some of these other sports. But to me, it hasn't happened. I know it's expensive, and I know through experience of the ball or the hockey that some of these kids, you go to a tournament, and some of the tournaments aren't for the kids, they're for the adults. And when I was involved, I never put up with the adults. That's why I had older kids play for me. I didn't want any part of the adults coming to me and telling me how I should run the team.
Did that happen a few times?
That never happened to me.
Never happened?
No,
Wow.
because they know that the way I operate, I don't put up with that.
You got to avoid it in all
Well,
situations then.
Well, I enjoyed it, and the kids that played for me, there were some good ball players, some good hockey players. Like we had the midget hockey all-stars. We had guys like Paul Evans and Mike Fry and Rob Duncan and those guys that were, they went on to play for Roger. But no, I enjoyed my career in Peterborough, and I got to meet a lot of great friends.
I'll get you into a couple more things.
Yep.
With just based off, you got to see the start of a lot of things.
Yep.
You got to see the end of a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
But even the building of the Peterborough Memorial Center, you would have been around
Yes.
19 years old when that happened.
Yes.
Can we assume that you were in the building?
You can assume that the first year that Peterborough had a team, I was a season ticket holder there, right at center ice. I had 2 seats. To this day, I don't know where I got the money from to buy the tickets, because the job I had at the time was not a very well-paying job. It was, but I survived, and I'm here today.
You got to be the manager. You were the manager of the Bewdley Arena as well. You mentioned.
I was the manager of Bewdley Arena. I went to Bewdley in about 1974 maybe, to 1980, and then I went to Durrell in 1980 as a manager out there. It was close, closer to me. The people in Bewdley were excellent. I enjoyed working down there. I met a lot of people, and when I told them I was leaving, they didn't want me to leave, which is understandable, and they offered me a big raise, but I turned it down. And I came to Durrell, and I finished my career out in Durrell.
And now, when you were inducted into the Hall of Fame,
Yes.
Can you remember that moment pretty clearly? Is that, or actually, you know what? Let's go to the moment that you would have got the call, or you found out that that was going to be something that happened. What was your reaction?
Well, my first reaction was that I was a low-key guy. I didn't publicize myself here or there or all over. I was a low-key guy, and I never expected to get in the hall. Some guys, they push themselves in there. I know guys that have taken down certain stuff for the hall, and because the hall, you have to wait your turn. I don't know how many applications they have, but you just don't show up and automatically get in the hall. You have to wait your turn. And I got the phone call, and as I said, I don't even know who nominated me at the time, but and then I found out that my wife and my 2 daughters put me in and nominated me for the hall.
And how much weight did that carry for you, knowing that your wife and your daughters, well, they knew how much it meant to you, that they took that step? How much weight did that carry?
My family, they were really good to me. I felt embarrassed because sometimes we'd be on the road on a Sunday and it would be 85 or 90 degrees, and they'd be home with no air conditioning, and I felt guilty. But in the long run, I would take them. I'd take my oldest daughter, who's passed away now, but I would take her and my wife. We'd go to a hockey tournament or ball tournament, and I'd take them with me.
Yeah. Those moments must be the things that feel greatest for you in your life. Absolutely. I think about my memories of going the exact same thing. How meaningful it is to be with your family, going on those road trips, and how much you take away.
Yeah, and I only have 1 daughter, and I treat her pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. So.
Did she get involved in sports through you as well?
No, but my wife did. My wife, she went to Kenner, She was involved with the basketball and the curling, and then she got into the golf, and she was a good athlete too, you know, and she's up to this year. She played 3 times a week, and she's going to be 80 next month. So she's cut it back to twice because once we got this, we don't have the strength that we used to have.
Yeah, well, understandable.
Yeah,
It's complicated just to
It's
go anywhere.
complicated, yeah.
And well, take me through this then. On a Saturday nights, if you guys were home in the winter, what hockey games were you watching? Was it Leafs or was it Bruins, Montreal? In Peterborough, I'm having a hard time deciphering what the team is.
Well, the team is the Boston Bruins because when I delivered papers uptown, Boston came into Peterborough to play an exhibition game at the old Civic Arena, and I met guys like, you won't remember them, but the guys like Frankie Brimsek, Paul Ronte, Riel Cheverfields, Leo Labine, Leo Boyven, guys like that. That's where the Boston that I enjoyed, the Boston Bruins and the Boston Red Sox. I've gone to Fenway a couple times in my career.
So the Boston Bruins played a exhibition game in Peterborough,
Yes,
the
they
Civic
did.
Arena. That was Brock Street?
No, at the Civic Arena on Park Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
No, it does not exist. Well, I played there, you know, in a lot of games, and the dressing rooms were downstairs. Like 2 of the dressing rooms were downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to envision what the arena would have been like for an NHL game.
Well,
If it doesn't exist now,
No,
and like, how old was that arena, and what was the space like? Because I'm assuming it got packed, and
it got packed. It got packed for that game. I can't even remember who they were playing. But as I said, the reason I enjoyed watching Boston is that I knew Dick Clapper, Don, and Marilyn quite well, and they were the good days that hockey was hockey, and you know.
Does it surprise you how many massive hockey names have come out of Peterborough, and how many that you got to experience firsthand? Does that ever, if you reflect on that, is it surprising?
Well, it's not surprising because Peterborough, even though it's a population of probably 75,000, we had real good coaches in Peterborough. We had, when I was around with the minor hockey, we had guys like Neil Wasson and Red Wasson and Eddie Rowe and Donnie Bigford and guys like that they were hockey people, and they knew up from down, you know. So no, it was enjoyable. As I say, I wouldn't change a thing. I enjoyed it, you know.
As I'm talking to more and more people, they talk about specific styles of play to Peterborough. Lacrosse, there's a Peterborough pick I'm learning. There are different phrases that are from Peterborough sports in this little sports silo. Now, are there any that you can think of as well, the unique styles of play that you experienced in this town?
No, not really. Not really. I played minor lacrosse years and years ago, and I enjoy going to the Lakers game, and I support them.
Yeah. Now, watching that in the summer, how much of a treat has that been to be able to see legitimately the best players in the world, I guess, coming back here in the summer to play for that team?
Well, we had to get a rink that was air conditioned for to play lacrosse. So nobody's going to sit like years and years ago when we had Miller Bowl. It was an open air facility, but if it rained, they had to cancel it. But now that they got the Memorial Center, I'm not sure whether we need another one or not. I go to the Lakers, I go to the Peace game, and I know just this last year, the Peace have been drawing fairly good crowds. They've been getting, 26, 2,700. But prior to that, you're looking at 2,000, 2,100,
Yeah. What do you think Peterborough needs in terms of sports facilities or leadership going forward?
Well, to start with, we don't have enough ice pads. We're way behind the average town of our size. You take Oshawa, I don't know what the population of Oshawa is, but they've got up-teen ice pads, double pads, triple pads. They got swimming pools, restaurants. It just goes on and on. And we're here in Peterborough, where we have people, probably more people gone from Peterborough to the NHL than any other town our size.
Yeah.
And we don't have the facilities. Now with the Northcrest closing up, I don't know where these kids are going to play or practice. I know when we had the midget all-stars, we had 1 hour a week practice time. That's all we had. But now I understand some of these teams are practicing 2 or 3 times a week, house league.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes expensive. I don't know what ice time is now. I'm guessing probably close to $200 an hour.
I guess unless
No. So
more facilities for the sports to grow in this city.
yes,
Yeah.
and they built the one out at Trent, and I appreciate that. But it's out there, and people come in from out of town. I go out and help with the tournaments out there or whatever I have to do. And people I know come in from out of town. There's no place to get anything to eat.
Mm-hmm.
There's no washroom facilities. It's just, I don't know where it's going to end.
Yeah. Is there something that you're most proud of in terms of what you experienced in Peterborough sports, apart from the relationships you built? But if you're explaining this sports community to somebody on the outside who's never been here before, what would you tell them about? What thing would you be most proud of?
I would probably be most proud of the baseball team that I had in 1976. We were all local kids. They were born and raised at Riverside Ballpark. They showed up, and you didn't have to turn them on. They turned themselves on,
Mm-hmm.
and they came to play. And they made a mistake. They knew it, but we had good coaching, and we had good players as well. And when we won it in 1976, I was standing beside the dugout, and we had a left-hand pitcher by the John Huey. He has passed away since.
Yeah.
He come in, and he always called me. Years ago, Washington Senators had a manager by the name of Cookie Lavagato, and John always called me Cookie. He says, "Cook, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Well, the guy just hit about a 300-foot home run." He says, "Don't worry." He says, "I got them buffaloed." That was the only run they got off them. I think we beat them 10-2 or something. That was
Wow.
probably my biggest moment in sports.
Tell me, what did you mean by buffaloed?
Well, Buffalo, it was this guy, if he had had the right coaching, I'm sure he could have got a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And Buffalo means that he baffled them with curveballs, fastballs,
Off balance. Yeah.
kept them off balance. He was the only guy in the city of Peterborough that could play softball and baseball at the same level.
Why is fast pitch so prevalent in Peterborough, where you don't see it really many other places? As far as what I experienced growing up, it's not as prevalent as it is in Peterborough.
Well, I can't answer that. I don't know. I never
Yeah.
got I never got involved with, well, I played softball years and years ago, but there's more to baseball, more fundamentals. You know, like the average person goes to the game and they do, you even watch it on television, and they don't know why they do those things, but there's always a reason for them to do that. You know, move the runner or hit and run or whatever the case may be.
How long do you think it takes somebody to grasp that when they're learning baseball?
Well, I think if you put your mind to it, within, I would think in a couple of years that if you get the right coaching, that and listen to the coach. Don't listen to your parents.
Yeah.
Then you have a chance to move up.
Now, another unique thing about baseball, and this is off the board, but baseball, the only sport where the coaches wear the same uniform as the players.
Yes.
As you get older, do you feel just weird going out there with the players when you're wearing the exact same gear as them? You're wearing cleats and everything to coach a game.
Well, I was the manager.
Okay.
And I very seldom dressed in a uniform.
All right.
Very seldom. One thing that stands out in my mind, we were up in Oshawa, and Bill Clement, I think he's announcing for the Philadelphia Flyers now.
Okay.
His brother played for me. His brother came in from Toronto. We had a big game in Oshawa. And
at the park downtown in Oshawa?
No, beside, it's got cement wall around it. It's got Peterborough, Ontario motor sales are right in front of it.
OMS right beside it?
Yeah.
The ivy on the back fence.
Exactly.
Okay, yes.
So he knew he was going to pitch, and I don't know who's coaching at the time, but he wasn't there. I was running the show. So I had to put my uniform on. So anyway, it was a big game. So he come in, he said, I don't think I can pitch tonight. He said, my arm is not very good. So I said, well, you're going to start anyway. We got nobody else. So about the fifth inning, you run into a bit of trouble. No hitter through 5 innings. So you run in a bit. So I go out. He says, well, you better take me out. I said, no. I said, we're either going to sink or swim with you right now. And we ended up beating them. And at the end of the game, I said, I thought your arm wasn't very good. This guy could really bring the ball. Yeah. Really bring the ball.
Was the rivalry there in baseball just like it is in hockey with Peterborough and Oshawa?
The rivalry between Oshawa and Peterborough was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Two of the nicest ball diamonds that I've ever seen are that one in Oshawa around OMS. They have a car dealership beside a baseball diamond, which the foul balls do a little bit more damage than if they land in the river, I guess.
Yeah, I have one baseball story to tell you.
All right.
Is that we were playing, and we were supposed to play Belleville, and one of our best players got suspended. Anyway, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't get but anyway, what happened is that the two coaches got together, and it was in the Peterborough Examiner, it was in the New York paper, it was in the Vancouver Sun, it was all over. They put the stats in, and they didn't play any games. It was a phantom doubleheader, they called it, and it would have been pulled off except Dale Clifford walked over the bridge that Saturday night, and there was nothing going on, and then he gets right up the sheets on Monday. And it says, what's going on here?
Why? Why did they try and do it?
Because one or two guys got suspended, and they figured if they played these games, then they could go on from that, and then they would play, the suspension would be over with.
Okay.
But everybody, the coach got suspended. He's still suspended as far as I'm concerned. And I have a golf tournament. I had a golf tournament about 4 years ago for all the fellows that played for me in ball. And the coach, I wanted him to come. I phoned him up personally, and he would come.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So.
Disgraced after?
I think he was disgraced after that. Yeah.
That's pretty sneaky.
Pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
What everybody says it wasn't him, it was me. They pointed the finger to me, but I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I never got suspended.
Yeah.
You know,
So that got published in New York and Vancouver.
it did all over the place. All over the place.
And what was everybody's reaction?
Well,
Well, I assume it's not good.
it's not good. It wasn't good for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like baseball has dealt with some scandals before.
they
right?
have a lot of scandals. Yeah, no.
How does the game compare now to what it was when you were learning it? We'll say compare the majors at the top level to when you were young. What differences are you seeing the most?
Well, years ago, everybody played for basically the same salary. Nowadays, some of these guys, like Mookie Betts, signs for $360 million for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of families out there that are suffering, that can't afford to get food, they can't afford their rent, and I don't agree with these big salaries that these Mookie Betts and whoever is getting the big salaries. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there a way that you think the players could set a better example?
I think basically, if I was running the team, basically, I would have all the players to make basically the same amount of money, because it's just like the NHL or ball. You go into the dressing room or on the bench, and you're sitting there and making $100,000, and the next guy making $12 million, and you're doing the same job. That don't make sense to me.
No.
You know.
Is there something that you think it's taken away from sport is there something that you prefer amateur sport to professional sport then?
I like watching the professional sports. I like it's the ball is caliber. The ball is better.
Mm-hmm.
The players are better. Everything is better in general in the majors. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I guess that's why they get the.
Yeah, you get the big bucks.
When was the last time you were at or when the Sports Hall of Fame has been open? When was the last time you had a chance to walk through?
I go down there probably once every 2 weeks just to shoot the guff or see what's going on or that, and I get involved if they need any, like the Hall of Fame golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I help with that, and I do what I can do to support them.
When your picture catches the side of your eye, if you're walking through the arena, do you stop and give it a quick moment?
No, not really. I don't do that. People come to me and they said, "Oh, you're in the hall." Some people are. The ordinary guy. I'm not one to boast that I'm in the hall.
Yeah.
You know, I just, sell the tickets on the car and do this and that and whatever I have to do.
What do you want your sports legacy to be in Peterborough?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I don't think nowadays in Peterborough you get involved with one sport, whether it's hockey or lacrosse. But in my day, I don't know how it worked out that I was involved with so many different sports, that it was just an accident. I don't know how it happened. I didn't have anybody to lead me to the water trough. I done everything on my own, and when I got nominated, I didn't have anybody to go and thank for, because I got there on myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So that's.
And what do you believe? Do you believe that matches what your legacy is?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I enjoyed the sports. People that like they come up to you and they thank you, and people today they even thank me for coaching their young lads, you know. And no, like when my daughter passed away, I had a couple of football coaches from Crestwood come, you know. So it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for stopping. There's always so much. There's so much to learn, really.
There is. I enjoyed the football, the high school. Like I met in the Ottawa Rough Riders, in the Peterborough Panthers of junior, and when I first started the high school football, we would go to Halliburton. We'd leave at 12 o'clock and get home around 7.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go for a doubleheader. And I got $10 a game, so that meant that I got $20 for being away that length of time. And we'd stop and get a Coke and a chocolate bar, a bag of chips on the way home. And that's what we got. I never got a cent. Well, like one guy come up to me and he says, "How much you get for taking those kids out of Riverside?" I said, "Do you see that?" I said, "I never got a cent when I was involved with the hockey or the ball. Not a cent that I did get. Matter of fact, one time I had to go home and get the second car take the kids to wherever we were going.
Who drove it?
The kids.
No.
I drove one, yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
The kids drove the second car?
Yeah, they drove the second car.
How old
the
were they?
manager. What the manager said be 17, 16,
Okay.
17,
Okay.
yeah. But I had to go home and get the second car.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my story.
Great. Well, we'll let you get out of here. Thank you again for your
Oh,
time,
thanks
George.
for
It's great
having
talking.
me. I want to thank Paul because there's more people in the hall with higher portfolios than mine. And
All are interesting, though. Everyone's interesting, though, in a different way.
Yeah. But as I say, there's not many people, like normally get involved with one or two sports, but I don't know why I was a guinea pig for them all.